We continue to welcome you into this sacred space of Agape. The word Agape, if you're new to the community, is a Greek word that means unconditional love. It is the love of God operating in the human heart, as described by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And we're seeking to come to an understanding that we are here on this planet, this time in human history, to perfect our loving. And that is to know that intrinsically there is love within us as the activity of our consciousness. There's peace within us. There's joy. All these qualities are within us already. We can't add anything to ourselves, but we can set them free. As Robert Browning reminded us, we got to release the inner splendor. So we are here to perfect our loving through our sacred service, through our relationships, through our soulful artistry, whatever it is our gift and our talent to express on the planet this time in human history. Therefore, when we come to an understanding about the theme of the month, which is the single-eye approach to life, we hear Yeshua ben Joseph as another name for the real name of Jesus the Christ, saying that if thy eye be single, thy body shall be full of light. And we come to an understanding that this particular statement has at least twofold awareness to it. There's an awareness that as you walk through life, single eye, that is seeking to perceive the unity back of everything, seeking to see the beauty back of everything, the love back of everything, seeking to see the presence of God, the underlying consciousness behind every aspect of creation. Your perception becomes healed, and your body of affairs become full of light, which means opportunities and possibilities and open doors and a lightness of being seems to be the activity of your awareness. If thy eye is single, if we have a single eye approach to life, and that is develop within us an inner habit of actually looking for and praising the good, looking for and praising the artistry and the creativity, looking for and praising the beauty, looking for and praising the joy and the abundance and all of the qualities that are emanating from the Godhead, but developing an inner habit where we're looking for it, transcending the egoic habit of looking for the negative, looking for the next shoe to drop, looking for some kind of a participation in superstition that would allow you to obscure the presence of God from your vision and to live life scared all the time about what may or may not happen on the planet. If thine eye is single, the body shall be full of light. There's a lightheartedness. There is opportunities that open. So that's one level of that particular statement. And then the other level of that statement brings you to an understanding that he was not speaking merely analogy, merely metaphor, merely prose, merely sweet poetry. The body is a filament of light. The body is an optic nerve. When the eye is single through spiritual practice, the luminosity that is within you, you begin to see it. You begin to radiate it. And at times, you are blinded by the light of a new understanding. You're blinded by the light of the presence of God. There's an ego blindness that occurs where you can't see temporarily because the new insight is so bright, it does not fit into your old paradigm. And sometimes even the body temple is luminous and you feel the light all around you. The next 4 weeks, I will give you at least one particular experience that I've had personally about the light. I'm thinking now about a time in which I was teaching the practitioner training many years ago prior to Agape. Reverend Joan Stedman, Deborah Johnson, many people were in this particular class with me, and I can remember walking into the doorway to teach, and the top of my head began to crack open, and this light shot through my body, and my body was full of light. And I walked into the class, and I remember asking the students, I said, did you guys hear that? Because it was so loud in my awareness, I thought people could hear it. And they said, no, we didn't hear anything. So I realized I was having an internal experience, and the light flooded my being. Subsequently, I told Lissa Sprinkles about the event, and we prayed about it and all that it meant in terms of the Christ light and being active in one and things of that particular nature. And she said, why don't you go see a friend of mine, Reverend June Juliet Gatlin, and see what she has to say about it. I never met Reverend June Juliet Gatlin. She's an oracle in our community, you know. And so I went to see her. I didn't know her. She didn't know me. And I remember bringing her some peaches or something as an offering. And she was walking into this place where she was going to do this spiritual reading on me, and she stopped in the middle of the walk, and she turned around and she looked at me. She said, "Oh, we have opened you up at the top of your head. The Christ presence is moving through your body temple. You'll never have to prepare to speak again. Hi, my name is June Gatlin." Those were the first remarks that came out of June Gatlin's mouth. I'm saying all of that to say that light that I encountered at that time was real, not metaphorical. It was a literal light that continues to unfold in my life and the lives of those individuals that I get to touch through speak, through word, through prayer, etc. So when the eye is single, the body is full of light, the body of affairs are full of light when there is a desire to perceive reality. I want to go back to this point because you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself and discover, where are you looking for negativity? Where are you looking for it in the world? Because if you keep looking for it, you're not only going to find it, but you're going to help create it, you see. So, but if you're dealing with a single eye approach, I'm looking for God today. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for possibilities. I'm looking for goodwill. I'm looking for the highest intentionality in everyone that I meet. You'll not only begin to see it, you'll also begin to create the underlying condition for it to emerge in your life and in this space by which your body is occupying, and even beyond where your body is occupying, because your energy field and your consciousness is infinite. You'll be an individual that can affect the vibrational frequency of places very distant from your body temple. So as we are segueing into the topic, which is to be relieved of your peeves, you'll begin to understand what a pet peeve is. A pet peeve is something that you love to hate. That's what a pet peeve is. You love to hate it. And that is, your mind goes on a hunt for that which you love to hate so that you can be justified, you can be right, and it begins to develop a kind of an addictive behavior of you being peeved about whatever their pet peeve is, so that you can live in a state of justification, in a state of being rightness, and walk all day around exclaiming about your particular pet peeve. I remember I used to have a pet peeve, not so much as now, but I used to have a pet peeve about people who rode escalators instead of walking up the stairs. And walking up the escalator. I'm talking about able-bodied people. I'm not talking about people that are carrying a lot of luggage or people who have an other ability where the body temple is concerned. But I used to be kind of peeved. I see people just standing on the elevator like they're in Disneyland or something. You know what I mean? I'm riding the elevator, or escalator, I mean. That's like, what are they doing? Just walk. You need some exercise, America. You need to develop those killer cells in your body temple. My mind would be saying things like that. And people are just standing, able-bodied people just standing there going up the escalator. That used to bother me. Not so much now. That's their personal choice. I just notice it and have my preference, but it doesn't bother me. I say, oh, okay, beautiful, and go on. But that was a pet peeve of mine. I was justified in it. I was right about it. They should be walking up that escalator. They should be getting some exercise today. They should be pumping that heart. They should be expanding that cardiovascular system. They should be getting some oxygen. They should be igniting the killer cells of their body temple. They should be strengthening their immune system. Don't just sit there. There I go again. Maybe the pet peeve isn't totally gone. But anyway, but it doesn't bother me as much anymore. I just kind of look at it and say, yeah, it's the way it is. But a pet peeve is something that you love to hate. Can become addictive. And if it's addictive and it's justified and you're right, guess what? Toxic chemicals are flowing through the body temple. You're right. Oh my God, I'm right. You see. And you are depleting your own energy field by your justified way of being on the planet. You see. And so being relieved of your peeves comes to an understanding that your pet peeve is something that you love to hate. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. I was driving, and I became aware of my mind being a little upset at the traffic, you know. And I thought to myself, it's like this every day. Why are you being upset today? You know it's going to be. You know traffic's going to be there, so why even let that go through your mind about the traffic? Leave 5 minutes earlier, and what I have a tendency to do is just put on some good music and say, in substance, one mind is driving all the cars. I'm going to get there safely and on time. So instead of, oh, there's traffic today, as if the next day is going to be different than the day before. There are not less people coming into Los Angeles. There's more people coming to Los Angeles. There's more construction going on. There's more things being built without the understanding of the ecological impact. There's more money being paid to politicians to get things constructed that don't need to be constructed. All of that is still happening. There's graft and corruption. And so I now say in substance, instead of, oh, traffic today, I say there's one mind driving all of these cars. I am going to arrive safely and on time, and I just flow with it. It reminds me of when I used to take my daughter to school many years ago, and we were, always rushing around to be on time, and we had a thing that we would play with. I would take a piece of cardboard, and I would put the cardboard over the clock in the car. And I would say, we're not going to look at the clock. We're going to get there on time. So we would go out of time, and it was a game we would play. As she was a little girl, we would play this game, because it's almost impossible, to get there on time with traffic and the time we left the house. So we would stop ourselves from looking at the clock. We're going to say we're going to get there on time. And invariably, we did, because we stopped participating in the world of effects and circumstances and situations and just participated in the awareness of a timeless dimension of ultimate reality taking over, and we would get there on time. I'm saying, and look at your pet peeves, see where you're justified, see where you're right, and begin to relieve yourself of the peeve. And then there's this thing called triggers. You heard that, she triggered me. He triggered me. You know what I mean? That's like it trends about every 5 years. That's a trend to conversation. Oh, I'm triggered. I'm triggered by this. I'm triggered by that. And oftentimes people forget that when you're triggered, the person that's triggered you didn't install that trigger. They didn't install it. It's there. And so instead of being triggered and say that they're triggering me and then seeking to manipulate them to stop triggering you, you know what that's like? That's like you mopping up water on your floor, never fixing the faucet that's leaking. You just keep on trying to manipulate the external world to stop you from triggering you, but you haven't gotten rid of the trigger, you see? And so what you want to do in spiritual practice is you want to look within and you want to see the sentence or the belief or the emotion that's behind the trigger and begin to unravel it. A good practitioner can help you with this. Unravel this. Good moments of meditation can help you see it. Unravel it, stopping in a moment, and instead of reacting, take a breath and say, what's really going on here? I know that person didn't install this trigger. What is it that I'm really saying to myself that's allowing me to be so upset? Then you begin to unravel, and you might uncover a bit of fear. You might uncover a bit of uncomfortableness. You might uncover a lie. You may uncover a belief that's within you. And as you begin to dissolve it through prayer, through spiritual therapy, through spiritual practice, this does not mean you give up. It's not if you give up your preferences. You don't give up your preferences. We prefer not to have traffic. We prefer whatever the trigger is. We prefer that life look a certain way. You never give up your preferences. However, you do not give up your joy and your peace and your harmony and your love simply because things aren't looking the way you want them to look. You don't give up your peace of mind simply because someone said something that you don't like. You don't give up your peace of mind simply because your ducks aren't in a row. Now, if you go out to a pond, the ducks are in a row for a particular period of time, and inevitably one duck goes off, and the mother has to go get the duck and bring it back. Life is a gas. Life is swirling. Life is phenomenal. Things are always going on and going on. So you develop the consciousness for what you prefer in your life, and you stop blaming other people for triggering you. You take full responsibility for that trigger. You take responsibility for looking at it and seeing what you're afraid of, seeing what kind of thought that you develop, what kind of perception that you develop at some time in your human history, and don't even blame the experience that brought that into manifestation. Stay out of blame altogether, and just notice the lie. Just notice the fear. Just notice the uncomfortability. Just notice whatever is there. See what you're saying to yourself and begin to say something else. Just as we say when mine is driving all of these cars, I'm going to ride safely and on time, you begin to say to yourself, I am protected and maintained by the Spirit of the living God. No hurt, harm, nor danger can come nigh my dwelling place. You begin to say to yourself, if you're triggered by something financial, I live in a sea of abundance and all of my needs are met all the time. You begin to unravel whatever the trigger is. And you begin to see what you're saying, and then say what you want to see. You change it up. What do you want to see? I want to see abundance everywhere. I want to see that me and my family are safe. I want to see that everything is unfolding perfectly. Say what you want to see until there becomes a correspondent, dynamic, energetic pattern, a sense of unity about what you're saying so that you will see it. Remember, you do not describe what you see, you ultimately see what you describe. That's the metaphysical law. People need to come back to basics. What do you want to see? Say it, feel it, believe it, meditate on it, cogitate about it, ruminate about it, tenderly brood about it until it becomes real, and take responsibility. I want a relief from the peeves so we can live a life absolutely preferring beauty and peace and love and joy and harmony and right relationships and all of that. But understand, if we are addicted to being right or justified based on our peeves, or if we are addicted to having things a certain way around our triggers, then we are not in the state of consciousness to birth that which we really want to see in the world. And it's an impossibility for you to have something that you're not vibrationally in alignment with. You might be able to manipulate it for a while and use all of your mental power to manipulate and to get something or somebody or something like that. But eventually, if you are not vibrating at that level, it's going to fall apart. It's like taking water and oil, and you can shake it really fast for a while, and it looks like there's some kind of synergy happening, but after a while, it's just going to separate. That's how it is in consciousness. You can manipulate and demand and try to intimidate and provoke to get something that you want, but eventually it's going to separate unless you have the consciousness, meaning unless the activity of your awareness is vibrating at that particular frequency, you see. And so when we look at the world scene and we see all of the swirling of different states of consciousness. Are you aware planet Earth contains every state of consciousness, all the way from the greedy, avarice, materialistic, hateful individual, all the way up to individuals that are living a life of love and generosity and philanthropy and artistry and creativity, and every stage in between. All of that is on planet Earth, which is why we call the Earth a school. So it's a school that contains every single grade, every single state of consciousness, from avatar consciousness all the way down to animalistic consciousness, human beings acting animalistic, you see? All of that is there. So somewhere along the line, you're going to bump into different states and stages of consciousness. You're going to see it on the news. You're going to see it broadcast to you on a regular basis. It's just kind of a shame that primarily what's broadcast are the lower frequencies. Primarily what's broadcast is the worst case scenarios of the human dimension. Primarily what's broadcast is everything that you should be worried about. So it's like the wrong use of technology, and instead of broadcasting every single day how many remissions happen, broadcasting broadcasting every single day how much progress we have made in particular areas of life, instead of broadcasting every single day truths, instead of broadcasting every single day wonderful artistry, that you get a tad of that, but you get mainly the negativity. It's the wrong use of technology. However, at some stage of development, we'll look back and laugh at the Neanderthal aspect of humanity and how it dealt with its technology, and at some point, our technology outstripped consciousness, which is why we have nuclear proliferation and all kinds of weapons and Pentagon being funded at such a high level, because technology has outstripped consciousness. But you who are listening, you're now the individuals who are stepping up and saying that my awareness of the power and the presence and the love of God is my single-eye purpose. The single-eye approach to life. Let me perceive the unity. Let me perceive the beauty. Let me perceive the joy. Let me perceive the possibility. Let me perceive the opportunities. I want to walk in that vibration. I want to walk in that frequency. And I want to check myself before I wreck myself where my peeves are concerned. I want to take responsibility for my triggers. I want to do my work so well that I become a body of light, liberation and joy and peace and harmony. And when it is hard, that is the call to go into practice. When it is hard to do so, that's when it is, you call somebody and say, I'm stuck in the muck. Help me. Speak the word. Tune in to agapelive.com or something that's going to lift your consciousness. Don't just wallow in despair, in the doubt and the worry and the hopelessness. You have every tool under the sun. At this particular time in human history, in terms of the right use of technology, years ago, a lot of things that are being taught now were in the vibration of the occult. It was hidden. It was only certain people could learn. When you went to Kemet back in the days of the initiates and now we'd call it Egypt, there were certain things that were only taught to the high priesthood. Everybody couldn't know this knowledge because they didn't want it to be used destructively. But we're living in a day and a time now where all of these kind of teachings that used to be occult, they're all over the place now. You can learn about meditation. You can learn about affirmative prayer. You can learn about life visioning. You can learn about your body basically channeling the energy of God for healing and wellness and well-being. All of these things that were hidden, they're now here. You do not have an excuse. I can remember years ago I used to tell kids, I would say, listen, we look around conspiratorially. I know a place where you can get all the knowledge of the world, anything you want to know. Really? Where? The library. You should go to the library instead of standing on the streets. But now the library is in your computer. You can read spiritual liberation. You can read the Bhagavad Gita. You can read the teachings of Jesus the Christ and get the mystical aspect of it. You can read What's Your What by Julie Moret. You can read everything is right there. You see my voice went up? That's a black thing. That's just a cultural thing. Everything is right there. I'm making myself laugh. Anyway, what am I saying today? I'm saying in substance that there's a single-eye approach. If the mind is dual, if you have dualistic, it's trouble. There's trouble there. If the house is divided against itself, there's trouble. I'm saying develop the consciousness to actually look for, praise the good, the beautiful, the creative, the intelligence. Praise it wherever you see it. Don't be jealous of it. Praise it. Embrace it, you see. Because then you'll understand the mystical statement of what you're looking for, you're looking with. So if you're looking for negativity in someone, you're looking with it. It's part of your, as the statement goes, you gotta take the mote out of your own eye. If you're looking for the good, you're gonna see it eventually, and you're also gonna help create it because that's what you're interested in, you see. And so today, as we are saying in substance, to be relieved of your peeves. You have heard today that your peeve is something that you love to hate. So that justification, being right, is where you live. It does not protect you from the toxic chemicals that are going to come from living in that judgmental point of view. And so you begin to uncover those peeves, transmute them. If you're in traffic, there's one mind driving all of these cars. I'm going to arrive safely and on time. Now, Monique, I hear her voice. We went to see Van Morrison last night. And it was not only was it a beautiful concert, but we left late. We found a wonderful parking spot. When we exited, we had no line to get out. We had no traffic. We got there with ease, and we got home with ease. And it was just, we were just kind of, everything's going to work out. Everything's going to be beautiful. It was just an amazing thing. And we saw all this traffic there, and people stuck. We didn't experience it. We got home way before 11 o'clock and got in time to meditate and pray and be ready for you today. One mind driving all those cars. We arrived safely and on time. What are you saying to yourself? When you're triggered, find out what you're saying, not what the other person is doing, because if there's no trigger there, you can't trip it if it's not there. Okay. Again, I just want to say this. This does not mean you don't prefer something. We don't want to eliminate our preferences. We just want to eliminate the fact that something out there being a particular way is going to bring us happiness. No, we bring joy and happiness to everywhere. Out there doesn't bring us the joy and happiness. It can bring us a temporary relief. It can bring us a temporary sense of glee because something has happened. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the liberated and the initiated want to live, spiritually liberated want to live. I bring the joy. I bring the peace. This does not mean you're not strong in certain areas. It doesn't mean you don't have to speak, with a certain degree of authority at times. I'm not saying you get rid of any of that. But you're bringing the gusto instead of thinking that the world is bringing it to you. So you're not playing for the audience. You're serving the Most High. And those around benefit that they get to see God as God is expressing through you. Singled eye approach. And then what happens? You celebrate. It's not frivolous. It's not frivolous. As Pat was announcing about the laughter yoga class, when you come into states of laughter and joy and dance and song and chant and appreciation, you're coming into a greater coherence with the fundamental harmony of your being, which is the presence of God. So I invite you to watch this individual dance with the Rev. Arnie Johansson. Blast from the past. Come on, Annie. Just watching that is changing the chemicals in your body. Just watching her dance. You watch somebody pray. You watch somebody meditate. You watch somebody be generous. You watch somebody being in a moment of compassion. Changes your frequency. Watch her dance. Annie Johansson, we thank you for sending in that video. We appreciate you. Woo! Thank you, Paul, for that. We appreciate it. And now, as our wonderful band comes up, we're going to invite you to create your own video and send it in. Why? Because you're golden. There's a golden hue around you that you want to set free.
Wherever I choose to go, it won't take me far. I'm living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life like it's golden.
Leslie! Come on, Leslie, come on.
Living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, living my life like it's golden, golden. Taking my own freedom, putting it in the song, singing loud and strong.
Sing it, Stacy!
I'm growing all day long, taking my freedom, putting it in my stroll. I'll be high stepping, y'all, let the joy unfold. I'm living my life like it's golden, 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 golden.
Leslie!
Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden. Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden.
We did not rehearse this.
Living my life like it's golden, 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 golden. Living my life like it's golden.
Are you feeling it in your bones?
Living my life like it's
Are you
golden.
feeling it
Living my
in your
life like
bones?
it's golden, golden. Living my life
And you're
like
about
it's
ready
golden. Living my life like it's golden.
to pray.
Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden.
This is all a prayer to God. This is a prayer for God. It's a prayer to God. It's a prayer with God. It's a prayer from God. Celebrating the divine presence is a prayer. We're living the single-eye approach. Even in our dance is for God. In our chanting is for God. In our song is for God. In our proclamation is for God. Our declaration is for God. Our decree is for God. Not a man in the sky, but a presence that is never an absence. Oh, come with me inside now. Extract your attention away from the world. As you've danced with us and sung with us, now you're prepared for the sacred stillness. What did he say? Go into the inner closet and pray to God in secret, and God will reward you openly. Have a unifying point of view. Come to your oneness with the presence of God. And openly there will be a demonstration of more good than you've dared to imagine. We turn within in this moment and we give thanks to the great God of the universe, called by millions of names. Mother, Father, God, Infinite Spirit, Lord God, Almighty, love, beauty, intelligence, all that there is. We recognize you everywhere and we look for you everywhere. And in looking for you everywhere, we begin to see you everywhere. We see you in the darkness and in the light. The challenge and in the demonstration, we see God. And become so one with the presence of God that something within shouts, I am that. I am that which thou art that which I am. And the word that is spoken from this space, this state, is a law unto itself that only knows its own fulfillment. I speak it with the authority of one knowing that all that there is God. And I speak it for each and every one of us tuning in today and those that would tune in a little later. I know that where we are, where they are, God is, and that the full power and presence of God is moving through us right now, and that every organ and every action, every function of our body temple hears the frequency of this word. Lo and behold, wholeness and wellness and well-being reign supreme through us right now, individually and collectively. That all of our needs are met. Oh, let's declare it. All of our needs are met. And that there is safety and well-being, wholeness, wisdom and guidance moving through us in a language and in a way that we can understand and act upon. Oh my God! The fire of our heart's desire is being set free, taking us higher. Even now, feel it. Feel it. Feel it.
There's a new territory that I never saw before, like a fire of transformation breaking through my core, shining in the darkness. I can see the light of day, and this new territory, it's my strength, it is my way. I say this new territory, it's my strength, so let us pray. Well, I pray that you will see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Well, I pray that you will see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Wake up, and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Wake up and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Let go and see the best of life, the best of love, the very best of everything. Let go.
Let go. Let's go. See the best. Feel the best. Embrace the best of life.